What is up, guys? It's Jake, and today I'm bringing you the Empire Vanquish GT review. So let me open this bad boy up, get in here. Now I'm going to talk a little bit here about the GT, and I've owned this for a hot second. I've owned an Empire 2.0, or the Empire Vanquish 2.0. I still own a 1.5, and this is my first GT I've ever owned. One of my favorite colors, when they released this, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to own that gun one day. And here I am, I own it. Shout out to Will Ball for Soup for getting me the plug on getting this bad boy. So I bought this brand new. I normally don't buy markers always brand new, unless if it's, you know, from my pro shop, but Scott was my boy that hooked me up. So let me just pull this thing out. That's one of the things about this is, like, you can see how I'm already struggling with getting this out of the packaging. It's kind of really annoying to get in and out of this actual Empire packaging. I feel like they could have done a better job with this packaging. I like the design of the case and everything, but like, this gun is just so big that, like, how you get it in and out, you kind of have to, like, I feel like this case is just like a 95-pound virgin. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've all had one of those. Maybe not you, but, you know, some of us lucky people have. Fucking come out. Jesus Christ, dude. Get out. Alright, so you kind of have to fuck with it just to get it out the right way. And here she is. Let me zip this up. So this is the packaging. Nice little Empire soft case. Can't really complain. I've dropped it on the ground. It's not injured or anything. It's perfectly fine. So inside of this little pouch, little pocket thing, you get like this very sad rebuild kit. I mean, it's not too bad. There's some extra springs. There's extra O-rings. There's everything that you're actually going to need. An extra Allen key. Some extra detents. But it's just kind of weird that all of the $1,500 markers out on the market come in like a nice little organized kit, other than Planet Eclipse. But Planet Eclipse at least has everything in a bunch of different bags. This is just kind of like all thrown together. Whatever. I mean, if you're just an organized freak, I'm not. I don't really care. I just have a box of like thousands of O-rings. So when I need to replace something, I normally don't touch the spare parts kit. I just normally touch like my box of O-rings and just kind of go from there. But normally I don't ever have to like repair O-rings or anything. You get this awesome little Vanquish tool in here. So let me take a step back. The original Vanquish that came out from Simon Stevens, if you guys know him, he does a lot of autococker stuff now. He left Empire, but one of the coolest and last things that he left behind with Empire was with the Vanquish. He made the marker all have one Allen, just one Allen wrench, all the same Allen screw sizes. They're all the same, so you only need one little tool. That's it to access everything in the entire gun. I think minus the solenoid. I think there's only one, but you're never gonna do maintenance on your solenoid, and I think it's like a screw that actually holds in the solenoid. It could be wrong. I've never had to work on the solenoid, so internet kids, prove me wrong. Go for it. Inside, I can take this is kind of cool, nice removable little pouch. You get a full barrel kit. So let me start. I mean, they're all anodized barrel matching. Now, one of the things that when I originally got this gun that I have to say is that Empire really just does a really shitty job on their quality control. When I originally bought this, I got it brand new in the box, sealed, with the wrong barrel. Like, it wasn't matching. Like, it was for different markers, all blue barrel kit. It was for the one that's all blue, not the blue tang, not the one that's blue and orange. So I got a whole blue orange kit. So I had to reach out to Empire, and they had to send me the right one. Then I had to pay shipping to send back the other one. So great job, Empire. And apparently, and I was reading on like some forums and stuff, that's not the only time that that's happened too. So they kind of should fix their quality control a little bit. But you get a 685, 688, 682, 691. Obviously, I didn't read those in order. I'm just going to pull out my favorite, which is the 685. That's just normally what I use, because sometimes if the paint's a little bit smaller and it gets a little bit hotter outside, then normally the bore fits perfectly fine, and if it doesn't, then it doesn't, and it means 685 still works perfectly fine. So let's go over just the general look and anodizing of it. The general look and the anodizing of this thing is very badass. It's very shiny. The orange is nice. When they came out with the original Vanquish, the first one they came out, it was very, very nice. Barrel kit, not too bad. I use it. It's not the best barrel out there, but I mean, it's not bad either. I would definitely, I'd use my boomstick over this. I would use like a Stella barrel kit. I'd use probably the Planet Eclipse, the newest barrel kit that they have. And I'd use like a Freak kit over this, but if you're sort of balling on a budget, I mean, I guess, and you're running a $1,500 gun, that doesn't make sense. But if you're balling on a budget, I mean, I guess, and you're running a $1,500 gun, that doesn't make sense. But if you're balling on a budget, all right, let me interrupt the main presentation here for 1 second. I sort of misspoke in the review, and I just don't really feel like putting everything back together, the whole studio, just for me to film these 1 or 2 parts that I misspoke in. The marker is no longer $1,500. Now, obviously, depending upon what year you guys are watching this video, it might not even be the same retail price as it is right now. It's right under $1,250, depending upon where you buy it. So it's still in that high-end range. It's just no longer $1,500. It's still over $1,000. So it's still over the G-Techs, it's still over the Shockers, it's still over the DSR. It's still competing with those main markers like the Luxes and the Planet Eclipse guns and all that. I understand, I misspoke, I'm sorry. I knew if I didn't say anything and correct myself off camera, I knew that everyone in the comment section would go wild. So for all you people that were about to correct me and go wild, go fuck yourself. And please enjoy the rest of the review. And you don't want to buy an extra barrel kit, you don't. It comes with a nice barrel kit. I just find that it's a little bit louder, and it's not my favorite. Doesn't have the best looks to it either, but whatever. So let's just overall take a look here at this marker here. I personally think that this thing is butt fuck ugly. It just really looks like something that just comes out from 2 cousins fucking each other. So that's just sort of my take on it. The one thing is, like, I feel like Empire, just coming down right to here, is that this is just one of the largest ASAs out there, and it's because it's an ASA regulator. Sort of, kind of. So this is not a regulator up here. This is your board. It's your whole air system's in here inside of your grip frame. But I just feel like this is just like too big. It's just like, I don't know, it's just kind of weird. Like, it's just kind of out there, you know? This is the same shit that they used on the Axe, like the original Axe from, like, when was the Axe released? Like 2012, 2011? I don't even know. It was a long time ago. It was when the PSP was still around. This is like that same ASA. And here we are, 2018, 2019, and they're still putting the same shit on their $1,500 marker. You know, kind of, it needs a little bit of updating. The trigger, as you can tell, this thing is loud, and boy does this thing bounce. Man, I've been wanting to play with this on uncapped semi, but I haven't really been able to, like, play with it out in the woods really yet. But god damn, this trigger bounces like crazy. And that's just like something normal that happens with just pretty much every Empire marker that I've owned, from like the Empire Axe, the Mini, the original Vanquish. But the original Vanquish trigger, I believe, was just way nicer than this. It's just loud. I've tried to adjust it, but I just don't like, I mean, I almost feel like I should, like, I don't know, get an aftermarket trigger. I'm not an aftermarket trigger kind of guy, but it's not really smooth. It's very, like, you can almost feel like the activation point of it, and not in a good way. You know what I mean? Like, you can kind of feel like the breakaway point. So, like, I can slowly hit it, and it's just like the spring just sort of like, I don't know, it's kind, you have to like get it in your hand. You can almost feel like the spring like activate and deactivate. I don't know how to like really explain it. You just kind of have to, like, I don't know, it's just kind of weird. It's not like my most favorite trigger that I've really ever seen on a high-end gun. This is probably one of my more least favorite triggers. I mean, yeah, you can get up there and walk it, but it's just kind of, I don't know, it is what it is. The feed neck, I believe the feed neck just sits up too high. I mean, it's a tall feed neck. This is just a big gun in general. This is just a very tall feed neck. Let me take the Lux Ice, for example. Let me try to put these side by side. This Vanquish barrel, there we go. So I have it. This Vanquish feed neck is almost twice the size. Let me try to get that lined up again. Almost twice the size of the Lux feed neck. I'll do like a closer camera shot, but like that sits up way too high. Here's a DSR. The DSR also has a little bit higher of a feed neck. And let me put feed neck to feed neck. Look at that. It still sits up higher than the DSR feed neck. And that to me is just like, I don't know, again, it seems like an outdated part. This is just something that was on like the axe from a while ago. I mean, it has the nice V16 here on the side, but I mean, yeah, cool, like, yeah, the feed neck sits up like 10 feet off of the marker. Yeah, good job, Empire. And that's just one thing that I really don't like about it. The other thing is like, I feel like, I'll show you from the back view, but the body itself is wide, and then they try to do like a thin grip frame, but what's also kind of weird is like this grip frame, because here's your board up here. So you have a full OLED board that came on, you know, the original OLED axe. Again, they haven't done anything different to their board. I'll get a closer shot in for you. It's very easy to program, very easy to figure out, but the front grip portion where this board is at is thicker than this back portion, like significantly. Like when I put it in my hand, I can definitely sort of feel the difference, and it's just kind of awkward, I guess you can say. That's sort of like the easiest way to explain it. It's just kind of like, I don't know, it's just kind of like a really weird feel in the hand. But I mean, it's plenty, like this board piece is plenty long enough, so if you have bigger hands, your pinky's not going to fly off the bottom. You still have plenty of room to wrap your thumb around, so I mean, you can still hold this marker in a lot of different ways, which is cool. The other thing that I also noticed is that when I also got this marker, I'm looking at it right now on the back cap, it came with a factory anodizing flaw, which is also something that's cool. So not only did I get the wrong barrel kit, but I also got a factory anodizing flaw, which is super cool. Shout out to Empire for that. Let's get the bolt out. So this is normal. Sometimes with like quick release bolts, especially with like a button, just this back cap is a little slippery. So what I like to do, if you kind of struggle, I just put my finger down in the feed neck, hit the button, and give it like a little coaxing, a little push. Here's the V16 barrel, or I'm sorry, not barrel. I don't know why I keep saying barrel. I said that in the last review too. Here's the V16 bolt. Super, super nice. This is probably the best thing about this entire gun is right here. This is it. This is one of the nicest shooting bolt designs. I'm not really designed, but just nice shooting bolt that I've really have ever seen in any of Empire's markers at all. I mean, it's just one of the smoothest out there. It's just as smooth as the Lux, probably a little bit smoother, if not smoother. But I mean, man, it just shoots so it shoots so smooth and just so nice. Over the chronograph, I mean, it's kind of consistent. It's not too bad. With this quick release system, you don't have to ever worry about this flying out. I press the button all the time when it's aired up and this doesn't go anywhere. So even when this is aired up, you don't have to worry about you accidentally, I mean, look at how big this button is. You're not going to accidentally, a stick isn't going to come in and hit this and it's going to go flying out the back. It doesn't really work that way. So you don't have to worry about this thing like coming out on you or anything. So overall, the one thing that I want to show you guys on this is how big this gun actually is and how long this thing actually is. So here it is sitting in my hand. I can hardly hold. I've got small hands. I'm a small dude. I'm like 5'7", 5'8", 130, 140 pounds. So I'm kind of a smaller dude, right? I'm more of a snake player, more of a mid player. And this gun is a very long gun. So here's my hand. And my hand is about, probably if I had to go fingertip back to my thumb this way, is probably like 8-9 inches if I had to take a guess. Maybe a little bit smaller, I'm not sure. So that's about how long it is. Here's the DSR right here again. Let me put it up, grip frame to grip frame. And you can see how much longer that actually is. And hold your horses here, ladies and gentlemen, because I have one of my favorite markers that has been released by Empire. Let me pull her out. This is the Wolf Gray Vanquish 1.5, and I actually kind of like this barrel kit better than, I mean, I got the carbon fiber tip, it's got awesome porting, it's nice and quiet, and these came with freak inserts, which is super nice, so I have inserts with this. And the thing is, like, look at this. So let's look at what is on this marker that carry over from this marker. So after several years, I believe this gun came out like 5 years before this one, the GT, I believe. Don't quote me. I'm going to look it up once I do the maintenance portion of this. So here is the feed neck, same exact feed neck from these two. Here's the awesome ASA that I was telling you about. Again, awesome ASA on both markers. Trigger, listen to that. Shh, can you hear that? It sounds so much better. It sounds so much smoother. Good old Simon Stevens right there. This is a way nicer trigger. The grip frame and because it's a little bit smaller, so the body on the 1.5 and the 1 is not nearly as fat, and it's not as tall from just by looking at it. It's just like it's a smoother profile on it. It just fits. It just feels like it fits in your hand a little bit better. And let me like try to line these up. They're actually the same exact size, but when I'm looking at it from the side profile, the GT is definitely bigger. The GT is 100% bigger. It's just fatter. It's wide. It's a fucking boat. Look at that thing. It's just like, I don't understand how you go from this day and age in paintball where everyone wants to have the lightest weight stuff. Even Empire putting out like lightweight pants, pads, jerseys, all this stuff. You want to have lightweight stuff. You want to be able to be super flash. You know, you want to be super speedy out there on the field. And then they come out and then they release this gun, which is heavier than their original one. This is definitely heavier. And they don't shorten it up. They don't make it any lighter. What did they change from this? They changed the bolt system. Congratulations. Yeah, the bolt system shoots better. But you can put this bolt and this marker, and that's probably what I'm going to end up doing if I don't sell this gun. So if you guys want to make me an offer on it, you can. Whatever, offer away, trades or whatever. And so overall, with the feel and the trigger and everything, I feel like they just sort of took a step backwards. You know, it's just kind of, I don't know. So let's, I'm going to stop talking about that for a second. Let's bring the camera in. I'm going to show you a few closer shots of the bolt and how to disassemble and maintenance this bad boy. Alright, so let's do the maintenance portion of this. I already got the barrel off. Obviously, you're going to want to clean your barrel. To get the bolt out, you press the little back button, and then you kind of get your finger in here and push it out. Here's the bolt. Now, I'm just going to set this to the side here for a second. Actually, let me put this back in. I'm going to show you the difference up close and personal between this and the Empire Vanquish 1.5. So here's the 1.5. I'm setting these ASA to ASA. So as you can see, they're pretty much, they're pretty much the exact same length. But see how the Vanquish GT sticks up a little bit because the body itself is fatter. Now let me slide this around. Let me get these in the right position. Now see how much bigger that body is? See how much wider that thing is compared to the 1.5? So you can see it's definitely a chunkier gun. It's bigger, more material, it's heavier. Here's the DSR. Let's put this. So see how much taller that is than the DSR? And I'm not even like really lining these up too much, but look at the size of the feed neck difference. Look at the grip frame difference. The DSR definitely has a little bit of a nicer design on the grip frame. Sleeker design in terms of how fat it is. Here's the Lux. Here's a Lux X. So definitely a lot smaller. Look at how much better design the Lux X is. I'm sorry, this is a Lux Ice, not a Lux X. Lux Ice. So overall, again, fat gun. That trigger. Nice. You only hear the, I don't know, whatever. Let's take this portion out. Get the bolt out. You press down the back button, and I give it a little push from inside. There's this, and then let's pull out. So how you did it on the 1.5 was you did like a little turn here. You had to push this button. It's a little bit easier now on the GT. That's one of the changes that they made. I'm gonna push this in a little bit. And on the Vanquish, on the original bolts, there's a spring. I'm gonna go off camera here for a second because my hands are all greasy from doing the last video. So there was a spring So you get like forward, then you have to press the button again, and then you have to like do this little zigzag to the side, and then it came out. So as you can see how this, and you can see how much paint I've actually, I've worked this bolt to death. You can see how a little bit more wear and tear. But this had a spring in it. This new one doesn't. It's all air powered. But it is very nice and smooth. It does work really nice. Nice blue little anodizing on it. If you start to see wear on the bolt tip, that's perfectly fine. I mean, that's normal, just like this. It just rubs up against the detents and it just takes off a little bit of the polish. If it didn't have that polish, it would look just like this. It's just going to look like aluminum. Let me take out the DSR bolt. Let me show you what the DSR looks like. Because the DSR has a polished bolt. Everyone's all like up in arms like, oh, my polish is coming off. You can sort of see the wear, not really with the DSR too much. Dye does a really good job on their polish, but you can start to see it a little bit too on like these polish bolts. It's a common thing, so if you see like the polish start coming, that doesn't mean like you're doing anything wrong. I would just, you know, reapply some lube. But this one has lasted a little bit longer than the original one. Let me just take this portion apart. And so this is the easiest way to start taking everything apart. You have your, you know, your nice little back cap back here. Here's your little button. The other cool thing is that, which is smart, is that if this somehow gets stuck on the inside, you can see there's like a little Allen screw right there. So if your bolt does get stuck in there, you can take this apart. You can separate the grip, the body, which is actually very easy apart. And you can see this is where it sits in at. You can actually still take the bolt out. So if it gets stuck in there, you can take your Allen key. If for whatever reason it gets like clogged up with dirt or anything, you can take this bad boy out and you can still access your bolt if you're having any issues. So let me lay down a little bit of a towel here to do some of the cleaning. So again, it's a fat, heavy, it's fat, it's heavy. I mean, it is what it is. It's kind of not all too amazing. I'm just gonna undo this portion right here. You don't really have to like take it apart this deep every time that you go to clean it. I've played in the mud with this. I've gotten it dirty. I've gotten it muddy. I've played out in the rain with it. You're not really going to have any sort of issues with it. Shooting in the rain, shooting in the mud, I didn't have any issues. I didn't see any problems. It didn't really skip a beat. So it's not that it's definitely a very nicely designed bolt in terms of efficiency and in terms of durability out there on the field. I haven't had to change any O-rings, and I've shot the 1.5 bolt a lot longer, as you can tell, especially with the polish, and I've just owned the gun a lot longer. I never actually had to change any O-rings on the 1.5 either. So I'm going to use some lube. You can use, the lube that I recommend is Sleek Lube, anything that's Dow 33 or equivalent. You don't need to use Hater Sauce, you don't need to use Hater Marmalade, don't use anything too thick on spools. I'm just going to use the Lux Grease. Again, it's like a Dow 33 equivalent. It doesn't, not that big of a deal. This is pretty much what every Sleek Lube looks like. Dye, grease, anything. It's all Dow 33. It's all the same shit. They just put their company logo on it and charge you. Exalt has like some Dow 33 grease. I believe Exalt does. You don't need much. That's actually a little bit too much from what I just put on there. But I'm just going to start working this. I like to work on the outside and go in. Again, I've made a very comprehensive video on how to lubricate your markers, how to maintenance your markers, and all that good stuff. If you don't know how to maintenance and lubricate markers and all that, go back and watch that. Obviously, the bolt only goes back together one way. So obviously you can't put it back together incorrectly. So you just kind of have to use your dipstick a little bit and do a little bit of smart thinking. There's a internal O-ring right here. I'm just going to take a very small amount of lube because that will sort of almost get like self-lubricated from the bolt, sort of. But I like to just get all the dirt and all the grime and everything off of that. Get these back O-rings. And they're not really back O-rings, but get the... Here we go. So, I mean, it's very easy to maintenance this, and you can see like how easy it is to actually break it apart. So if you're having an issue, you split an O-ring or whatever, you know, you're not going to have really many issues. The other thing is if you're leaking down the barrel, it's a very easy fix. It's normally this O-ring right here. This O-ring right up front probably won't really ever cause you many issues, but then you just plug that bad boy back in there. It's got a nice little soft tip. That's all you have to do for this portion. You don't have to lube up all of, I mean, if you really want to, you can put a little bit right up here on the tip if you're worried about the rubbing on the detents. I don't really lube like just the raw aluminum too much because, I mean, it's going to wear out eventually. You're going to eventually have a bolt that looks like this. I mean, that's just how it goes. So we're just going to do this and then set that there. And then, I mean, you basically just start putting it together the way that I took it apart. So it's actually really not too bad. It's fairly simple. And just lubricate this. Lubricate that. A little bit of this. A little bit of that. Ha 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 ha. And then come back here. Line everything up correctly. And again, there's no spring. Now this is kind of the tricky part. You want to make sure that you don't cross thread this. So you kind of want to feel it. You kind of want to feel the threads grab. I like to back my threads out a little bit, just like this. Oh, there it is. I like to back my threads out, and then, so what I mean by that is I like to go backwards. I'll show you on a bigger picture. So when you're trying to like put threads together, like especially tanks, when you're screwing in your tank. So when you're trying to get something lined up, this is like the plumbing technique that every plumber does this. So you put, you know, you line up whatever you're trying to screw, and instead of trying to just screw it inward, like, you know, just running it, just absolutely just sending it and just tightening it, instead, if you don't know if it's lined up, just start feeling it. Just do this with your barrel. Go backwards a little bit, and you'll feel like the threads just like literally line up and just pop like right there. So I just felt it. So I'm going to go backwards a little bit, and you'll just feel the threads just like pop. Just line, just like that. You can actually hear it. And then when you go to screw it in, you're not going to cross thread it because they're lined up pretty perfectly. So that's sort of a fun little trick. And then you know, do this bad boy. Tighten that up. There's a little back O-ring right here. You probably won't really ever need to lube this too much, but I do it anyways. It doesn't need a lot. Let's get these O-rings here. Take said fat heavy gun and push on the button. There we go. And there is my factory anodizing flaw. Hold on. There is my factory anodizing flaw right there. You can see like the raw aluminum's right up underneath of it, and it's like a giant scratch. It's kind of annoying. Alright guys, so in conclusion, do I recommend this gun? Do I like the Vanquish GT? Do I like the Vanquish 2.0? I mean, when I made the original Vanquish 2.0 review like 3-4 years ago, I was like, yeah, it's not a bad gun. It shoots smooth, you know, it's nice and everything. But like, they haven't made any updates or changes on this other than the bolt, and the bolt is fine, and the bolt shoots great. But like, do I recommend this? Yes and no. I would tell you to get this in your hands first. The thing is with this, and I said this in the first Vanquish review, the Vanquish 1.5, get it in your hand and feel it. Why? Because it's long. It is a long gun. It is a big boy gun. And the other thing is that it's heavy. So me, being a snake player, I tried playing with this on the snake side of the field, and I did. And the first game that I played with this, diving into snake, at the indoor the other day, I don't ever core sample, and I just completely bit it with this gun. And the reason why is because of how heavy and long this thing was. I felt like I was carrying a Tippmann 98 on the field. I had a 77 cubic inch tank out there, and I had my die rotor. So not only did I have a bigger tank, but I had an SL tank on it though, so it's this Ninja Super Light, but I also had a heavier hopper on it. And I'm just used to carrying around like little lighter weight guns, a little bit, not as long. The length doesn't really get me as much, but just the weight that's behind this. This is just like a heavy, it's a beefy gun. And with it being so long with that extra, with that extra tank and everything, when I went diving the first point, I like literally I was almost on the ground and I was like, fuck, like I just knew I was gonna eat it. And of course I dive in, the first thing that hit was the barrel. Nothing got damaged or anything. It wasn't even that bad of a dive. But I go down, the gun wants to go backwards and my body keeps going forward. Why? Because this gun was so heavy when I was diving in midair, the gun just kind of just went straight down on the ground. That's where it wants to go, especially with the hopper full of paint and a tank. It just, gravity takes over at that point. And this thing is just like, it's too beefy, you know? But I can say running and gunning out to the corner, you do have a lot of nice control over it because it is long. Coming up off the box and being able to swing this thing out, it is nice, it is long. You do have nice control over it. But like, for other than that, it's almost like, like, come on, Planet Eclipse is changing it up. Dye's been changing it up. Every company's been out there that's changing it up, and they almost, I feel like they went backwards. They haven't made any updates. They haven't done anything with the feed neck. They went backwards with the trigger. This ASA, come on, what the fuck are you doing with this thing? The board, it's like, yeah, it's an OLED board, but you guys haven't changed your system in like 10 years. This is the same shit that they used to put on the Axe Pro back in the day. Like, I mean, yeah, I just think it's time for updates. Yeah, they updated the bolt. They updated the bolt. I think the bolt shoots great, but other than that, I just really don't. I don't like the gun too much. It's just really not my favorite, especially with today. If this gun came out like 3-4 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, hell yeah, it shoots smooth. It's just long and it's heavy, but again, 3-4 years ago, I mean, you're competing with heavier DMs, you're competing with heavier egos, you're competing with a little bit heavier guns, and you're competing with, you know, triggers that do crazy things like this. You know, I mean, it could have competed a little bit more back then. Now, I definitely, and like, how can you send out a $1,500 gun with an anodizing flaw on it? Like, really, like, how can I open this up, get the wrong barrel and an anodizing flaw on it from the factory? Like, come on, like, they got to get their shit together. That to me just kind of blew my mind. So overall, I mean, if you're thinking about getting one, these pop up used on the market all day long for like $400 or $500. Like, if I were to buy one used for like $300-400, sure, I'd rock it. I could give this to a new player and be like, here you go shoot this. I spent $300 on it, whatever. I spent the same amount on this as I could a dangerous power gun. If, you know, I mean, these pop up used for cheap all the time. So if I would just be like, here you go, new player, just fucking go shoot whatever the hell you want with it. That is what, like, if you can find one for like that cheap, yeah, sure, I mean, run it. Yeah, it's cool that you know, all the screws and everything come apart with one Allen key, but again, that's happened with this. That's happened with a lot of the modern day markers. And I don't know. So, do I recommend it? Yes and no. Get it in your hands first. This is definitely not for everyone. It doesn't have a lot of the updated features that I think it should have. So, yeah, that's going to sort of be where I'm going to end this video. It is what it is. If you guys want to buy this, hit me up. Oh, fuck. Hate sitting down, having to get up, fucking get my ass out over here, get some more shit. Fuck me in the ass. Jesus fucking Christ. Shit on my dick. That wasn't dramatic or anything. Alright, I know this isn't the most professional like shot with the lighting and everything because I'm shooting outside the window because it's a little bit cold and I don't feel like standing outside in the cold with my awesome Brazzers attire. So I'm just going to show you the difference in sound signature between the stock barrel and a Dye ultralight barrel. I have other barrels out here that I could test, but I'm just going to show you that it is, from my opinion. I'll let you guys test, or you know, hear the difference and be able to tell. My target down there, for all you guys that are wondering, there's a bus full of school children. I'm going to shoot them real quick. Wow, it's chilly. I'm going to turn this on. Yeah, I'm not using a mask because I'm that fucking cool. Should see all these little school children running. Alright. Let's turn it off. Let's switch barrels. Still quiet. Still shoots fine. Wow, that wind is chilly. I don't know, I think it's a little bit quieter. Let me know what you guys think.